Back, the heat and humidity back in full force across the Quad Cities this afternoon. The only relief from that heat and that beating sunshine in the form of a couple of clouds scooting in. These are left over from a thunderstorm complex that formed into parts of Iowa early this morning. And so far, they haven't yielded much in the way of rain activity, though we are watching one isolated shower just to the north of Princeton here in Bureau County, north of Interstate 80 and right to the east of US 34 south of Lamoille. Could see a bit of a quick downpour in this area here, but not expecting any severe weather. And notice our lightning tracker not showing anything coming out of this heavier shower either. There's still a chance, and it's a small chance, but it still exists through the overnight, that as a weak boundary settles right along Interstate 88, we could see a couple more of these brief weak showers develop, perhaps even a rumble of thunder. It's a small window of opportunity though, because once we move beyond 10 o'clock this evening, the rest of the overnight is in good shape and looking fairly quiet. This same scenario could repeat itself again tomorrow. Our winds are going to turn more southerly. That gives us more humidity and a little more energy to work with to perhaps get a couple of scattered thunderstorms going in the afternoon. Best chance, just like tonight, is along and north of Interstate 80, north of the Quad Cities, where a couple of widely scattered storms will be possible between 4 and 6 o'clock tomorrow. That will then scoot out, and it looks like the rain will be leaving us alone as we head into the beginning of our new work week. Tropical Storm Barry now continuing to look fairly impressive on the satellite. You can see it there just south of New Orleans. As we go in a little bit closer for inspection, some brighter colors. Noticing it's still quite intense too, though it is beginning to weaken some as it's been downgraded as it was a hurricane earlier today. Still packing winds of 65 miles per hour as it makes its way towards Alexandria, Louisiana. It will continue to draw northward as we go through the weekend, and then getting into early next week, you see that track continues to take it towards us. However, I think the bulk of the moisture is going to stay to the south of us. Still can't rule out a widely isolated shower or storm for us here Tuesday afternoon, but the deeper moisture and the heavy rains will remain south of us as we go into next week. And we could use a little bit of a drink if we actually look at the rainfall departure for the year so far. Notice we started out on a wet month. We had a little bit of a deficit in March, but of course had a huge gain as we went into the spring and early summer that caused all of the flooding. Here we are sitting in July now, and we're actually back to a deficit. And especially when you get to this time of year, we're evaporating a ton of water out of the ground. The sun is very strong. If we look at the amount of water that we pull out on average each day, for each month, April through now, notice we're peaking. So if we actually kind of add all of this up, you can realistically evaporate about 6.5 inches of water out of the ground throughout the month of July. So we don't want to see long stretches of dry weather like we're seeing right now. We need the occasional rain shower here and there, and that's hopefully what we'll get over the next couple of days. 91 degrees right now, feels more like 98 on our Mid-American Energy Eagle Eye. Elsewhere, widespread low 90s and heat indexes getting close to 100. It looks like we'll do that yet again for tomorrow. 72 for us tonight, an isolated storm early, otherwise very muggy, getting into the final day of the John Deere Classic tomorrow. Another repeat of today, warm, humid, and heat index values likely pushing towards 100 degrees in the afternoon. Just a slight chance of a shower or storm, and light winds too. Unfortunately, not strong enough to cool you off unless you're in the shade. Getting into early next week, the 90s continue. I have nothing lower than that for high temperatures. In fact, I think we're going well into the 90s by next weekend. Your best chance for organized widespread rain Thursday night into Friday morning. But so far, not a drop of rain for the John Deere Classic. Just incredible.
Right. But the excitement continues over at TPC Deere Run for the John Deere Classic. You just have to imagine that folks going there are going to want to pack an extra shirt for all that humidity and all the, I just imagine how much sweat.
Absolutely. An extra shirt, a hat, maybe even an extra water bottle at this point.
Right. And don't forget your sunscreen. Well, here's a heads up for drivers in Davenport. Eastbound River Drive will be detoured at Ripley starting on Monday for work on the Sky Bridge. Road closures on River Drive should be wrapped up by Friday. The Sky Bridge project is expected to be completed by mid-August. Coming up on News 8, Pride in Your Ride, the party just west of the Quad Cities today celebrating the world's biggest truck stop.